Okay, question number 8. What is the ROE? Okay, if you have your multiplier of 1.35, Tato of 2.15, and profit margin, what is our ROE? Okay, so remember the formula for ROE. Okay, the simple formula for ROE is net over equity, but you cannot use this one for this problem because it lacks the details. Because we cannot get our equity yet, diba? And net income, it's not given here in the problem, but you can use the expanded formula. So, net income over sales times sales over assets, then times assets over equity. So, pag ma-cancel out na sila, cancel out, you will um, compute for this one. This will be the remaining amount, net income over equity. Again, for this problem, since wala man siya net income, wala pa siya equity, so you can use the expanded form. Okay? So, what is our ROE? Okay? Given is the equity multiplier. And this is your total asset turnover. And this is your profit margin. So, therefore, simply multiply. So, you have profit margin is 5.8%. Pero kung percent na sila tanan, so, pwede ra gud nga i-percent mo na siya. So, what? Profit margin times 2.15 times 1.35. But when I compute it in the calculator, I prefer that I use the decimal. So, instead of pressing 5.8%, I prefer to convert that into decimal. So, 0.058 times 2.15 times 1.35. So that would be 16.1683. Para decimal siya una, 16.83. So therefore, this is 16.83%. But actually, pwede magyapon tong percentage ka. Unahon nimo tong decimal una, 2.15 times 1.35 times press 5.8 and press the percentage sign sa calculator. So, you will get 16.1683. Again, dili butangan dayon o percentage ha. Kapihon yung kitahin mo 6.1683 then percentage. That's wrong. That's a different answer. You multiply it first by 100 to get the percentage, 16.83%. Next question number 9. What is the equity multiplier? What is the net income? Okay, answer first. What's the equity multiplier? What is your EM here? Okay, no answer. Why is it no answer? Okay. Equity multiplier, ROE, net income. Okay, what is given here is the debt to equity ratio, the ROA, and then the equity. So, pagani siya mangahoy ta, asa man ang pwede nga ma-extract. What formula can we use here first? Kasi pwede natong magamit. What do you think? Okay, what do you think can we compute here first? Okay. So, you have your debt. So, i-check sa nato ang mga formulas. You have your debt to equity. Okay. That's 0.9 is to 1. So, then, you have your return on assets, ROA. That's 10.1%. And how do you compute the ROA? So, that's net income over assets. And this is 10.1%. Okay. Can you compute your net income here? The given is total equity of 645. Na siya equity. Pero ang formula is ROA man. So, dili. Makompute ba na to? Makompute ba na to? Ito ang assets ani? Given the debt to equity. Okay, equity multiplier ang unahon. Okay, so this is our sa formula for the equity multiplier. Okay, return assets, total equity, equity multiplier. Okay, what's the formula for equity multiplier? That's assets over equity. Okay. How much is our equity? The equity is given. How about the assets? How much is our asset here? Can you compute the asset? How much is your asset? Okay, can you compute your assets? So remember, asset is liabilities plus equity. We already know that the ratio of your debt to equity is 0.9 is to 1. So therefore, assets is equal to 0.9. This is your debt of your equity, which is, pila man ang equity nato? It's given, di ba? 0.9 of 645. Ano ka naman siya, ma'am? Kadiba, that's 0.9 is to 1. And your 1 here is your equity. Diba? Sa ganyan yung debt to equity, for every peso of equity na ay 0.9 or ano siya, 0.9 centavo, 90 centavos of debt. So therefore, ang debt nimo kanisiya, this is your liability or your debt, is 90% of your equity. So therefore, plus equity, pwedeng 1 times 645, pero 645,000 gihapon na siya. Because this is your equity. Therefore, 0.9 times 645, that's 580, 580,500 plus 645, that's 1,225,500. Okay, so therefore, we can compute our equity multiplier, 1 million, okay, 1,225,500. Okay, yan sa, okay, tumuagi. Okay, equity multiplier is equal to your assets over equity. Our assets is already computed, so that's 1,225,500 divided by our equity, it's given 645. Okay, Okay, so 1,225, 500 divided by 645, that's 1.9. Okay, I think somebody got the correct answer for equity multiplier. Okay, next. Well, we already have equity multiplier. How about the return on equity? How much is our return or ang net income? Can we compute the net income here? Can we compute? Remember what is lacking here in this formula for the ROA? Um, we already have the ROA 10.1 percent, and then your asset was missing earlier, but we have computed this one. So therefore, we can now compute a net income. So our ROA is equal to net income over assets, and our ROA is given 10.1% equals net income over 1,225,500. Okay, so cross multiply 1,225,500 times 10.1. How much is our net income? Okay, net income is 123,775.50. That's correct. So net income is equal to 123,775.50. Okay, that's correct. How about ROE? How much is our ROE? Can we compute now the ROE? So, pwede na siya because we already have your net income. No, net income over equity. Okay, so you have 123,775.50 divided by equity is given 645. Okay, what is your answer? What is our ROE? Okay, 123,775.50 divided by 645. That's 19. 123,775.50 divided by. Okay, that's ano, what? 19.19, 19.29. Which one? Because we have two answers here in the chat box. 19.29, there's also 19.19. Which one is the correct answer? Okay, so that's 19.19%. Isa man to 19.29. Okay, let's proceed with the next question. We're done with the Y3K. So we have, okay, Layla. What is the sustainable growth rate? I think this one is easier because there are no trick questions here. You just follow the formula for sustainable growth rate. What is the formula for the sustainable growth rate? That is ROE. You multiply it by 1. If the Payout ratio is given, so you can use this one. 1 minus the payout ratio, then 1 minus ROE times 1 minus payout ratio. Okay. So simply substitute. What is the answer for question 16? Okay, so what is our ROE? The ROE is 15%. Then times 1 minus the payout. The payout is 10, so this is 90%. Then 1 minus 15 times 90%. So that's 0.15 times 0.90, that's 13.5% divided by 1 minus 13.5. This is 86.5%. How did you get 13.5%? That's only the numerator. Okay, can we check the formula for sustainable growth rate? Diba you're going to, the numerator first is ROE times B, and B is your retention ratio or the flow back ratio. But the alternative is 1 minus dividend payout. That's why we have this 1 minus payout ratio. Okay, so 13.5% divided by 86.5%, so that is 15.61%. So what is this sustainable growth rate? So what is the use of that sustainable growth rate? So the usage of that is it determines what would be your maximum growth if you rely only on your internal funding. So you do not add additional debt or equity from outside. So you're just using what is available internally in terms of your debt and your equity. That's why it's considered as sustainable. If you're not going to rely outside or additional funding, what would be the sustained growth rate? So that would be your sustainable growth rate nga answer. So that's 15.61%. Okay. Question number 11. Okay, what is your sustainable growth rate? So just fill in the formula. What would be your numerator here? Okay, so this is 24. Okay, this is correct. What is our ROE here? What is our ROE, DI? First, we need to get the ROE. So, profit margin, 8.1% times turnover 1.9 times 1.25. Our ROE, 81 times 0.9 times 1.25. This is 19.24%. Okay, so substitute that in the formula for the sustainable growth rate. So, pwede lang ditsuon, pwede ra putlo na to siya. So, kung i-round off ang ROE, so that's 0.1924 times 1 minus the payout, which is 30%, times 70%, 19.24% times 70%. Again, how do we get 70%? 1 minus the payout ratio, and then 1 minus 19.24% times 70%. Okay, 19.25 times 0.70, that's 13.47%. Then you have minus 1 point, or this is 86.53%. So 13.47 divided by 86.53. This is 15.57%. 15 point. But this would be a different answer if wala na to ni siya giputol. I think this would be lesser. So 15.57, 15.56 something. Okay? So those are correct. Then, next question. A Mindanao Mining has 6 million sales, ROE of 12%, and Tato of 3.2. The company is 50% equity finance, no preferred stock outstanding. What is the net income? Okay, what is your answer for this one? Okay, so that is correct. That's 112,500. Okay. 112,500. Okay, question number 13. King Company has ROA of 12%, debt to total assets of 40%. What is the return on equity? So the given is ROA and debt to total assets ratio. Okay, so only two given. Okay, ROA and debt to assets. Okay, debt to total assets is 40%. So this is 0.40 is to 1. And then your ROA is 12%. Okay, so what is our return on equity? So your what is the component of the return on equity? So that is your profit margin times your TATO times your equity multiplier. So this is net income over sales times sales over total assets times total assets over equity. If you're going to do the formula, so i-compress na to siya, di ba this is ROA, right? You cancel out the sales and this becomes your ROA. So therefore, your ROE is ROA times your equity multiplier. Okay? Your ROA is given, that's 12%. So therefore, we need to determine the equity multiplier to compute the ROE. The equity multiplier is total assets over equity. So how do we convert this debt to assets to total assets over equity? What is the ratio? What is the equity multiplier in the problem? Before we get the ROE. What is the equity multiplier? Can you write your answer in the chat box? What is our equity multiplier? If the debt to asset is 0.40 or 40%, what is our equity multiplier? What is our equity multiplier? Anyone? Can you write your answers in the chat box? How do we derive the equity multiplier here? Diba, equity multiplier is total assets over equity. If our assets is 1 and our debt is 0.4, what is our equity portion here? What is our equity portion? What is the percentage of your equity as total asset? That would be, pilaman? What's the percentage of your equity? That is, okay, 60. So therefore, your equity multiplier is 1 over 0.60. So now we can multiply 1 divided by 0.6 times 12%. So that is 19.99, or that is 20%.
If you like this video, don't forget to click like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be updated with the latest video lessons. Thank you for watching!